Now, here is a question for you. In this question, you are required to balance the chemical equation. You need to find out what will be the numbers x, y, z, and w. So how would you go about it? Now, I'm actually going to create simultaneous equations from these variables you see here. And I'll actually use various elements represented from the chemical equation to do that. So let's start with sodium. Now, we have the left-hand side of this equation as well as the right-hand side. Now, on the left-hand side, we have 3 atoms of the sodium element, and that will be multiplied by x. So that gives us 3x. That's what we have for sodium on the left-hand side. Then on the right-hand side, we don't have more than one atom of sodium, but that, of course, is multiplied by the z number of moles. So that will be 1 multiplied by z, and that gives us z. So on the right-hand side, we're going to have z. So that means 3x is equal to z. Now let's go to phosphorus. Now for phosphorus, we just have one atom of it. So that will be multiplied by x, and that will give us the basic x on the left-hand side. Then on the right, we have phosphorus there. Now this bracket means that 2, which is, I would actually say it's a subscript, but that works for both the phosphorus and the oxygen. So in this case, we have phosphorus to be 2. Oxygen is 4, but that will be multiplied by 2, and that gives you 8 for oxygen. But right now, we're just focused on phosphorus, so that will be 2. Now, in front here, we have W, so that should be 2W. So we're going to have 2W, and that's pretty much it for phosphorus. Now, let's go to oxygen. Now, oxygen on the left-hand side, we have 4 atoms of it for the major sodium phosphate. So there is an X here, which actually works for every element within the compound. So that will be 4 multiplied by X, and that's equal to 4X. And then on this side, we have 4 multiplied by 2. That gives us 8. And then that will be multiplied by W. So that gives us 8W. I can actually reduce this expression. If I divide both sides by 4, this is still going to be equal to X is equal to 2W, which is exactly the same thing we have for phosphorus. Now the next one will be magnesium. So for magnesium, we have 1 atom of it in the original case, but that will be multiplied by Y. So that will be equal to Y. And then on the right-hand side, we have 3 atoms of magnesium. That will be multiplied by W. So that is equal to 3W. Now the final one is chlorine. So what will be the equation resulting from chlorine? We have 2 atoms of chlorine, and that will be multiplied by Y. So that's going to be 2Y on the left-hand side. And then on the right, we have just 1 atom of chlorine, but that will be multiplied by Z there. So that will be equal to a Z. So these are the set of equations that you need to solve. Now the easiest way to do it is designate one of the variables as 1. So let's say in this case, x is equal to 1. We're just going to choose this one. So let's say x is equal to 1. Now if x is equal to 1, let's use this particular equation to find out what w is going to be. So if x is equal to 1, that means we're going to have 1 is equal to 2w, and w, that will be equal to 1 divided by 2. So that's the next value for the other variable. That's w. Again, we know that 3x is equal to z from the first equation. So that will be 3 multiplied by 1, and that will be equal to z. So in this case, we can say z is equal to 3. So I need to write that here. Z, that is equal to 3. And then we also need to find y. So we know that y is equal to 3w. Now w is a half. So that will be y is equal to 3 multiplied by 1 half. That should give us 3 halves. So y will be equal to 3 halves. Let me rewrite it. So that's what we're going to have. So we're going to have there. So we're just going to replace these variables in the original equation. We're going to replace them with the numbers. And then we'll find out whether or not it's balanced. So x is equal to 1. That means we don't really need to write anything there. So this is sodium phosphate. Then y is 3/2. And then you have MgCl2. And then z is equal to 3. So that's sodium chloride. Plus W is a half. So that will be a half. Magnesium 3 plus PO4. That is a 2. Now you need to understand that in chemical equations, it's not really required or allowed for you to have fractions as number of moles of various compounds. So how to eliminate or take out the problem? You need to take the denominators of the various fractions you have and find the LCM of those denominators. That LCM will be what will be multiplied through the whole equation. It fortunately happens to be that we just have 2 as denominators for the two fractions that are here. So I'm just going to take 2 and multiply through the whole equation. Okay, I want to retake that. So if we multiply this by 2, that will be 2 sodium phosphate. And then if we multiply 3/2 by 2, that obviously helps for the 2 in the denominator part of the fraction to be eliminated. So we're just going to have a 3. So that will be 3 MgCl2. Then here we're going to have this 3 multiplied by 2. That gives us a 6. So that will be a 6 sodium chloride. And here we're going to have 2 multiplied by a half, which is a 1. So that will be Mg3. And we're going to have PO4, 2. So let's find out whether or not these elements are balanced on both sides. So let's start with sodium. For sodium, we have 3 multiplied by 2. That gives us 6. And here we got 6 sodium. So that's correct. And going on to phosphorus. Phosphorus is 2 here. And on this side, we also have 2 phosphorus. For oxygen, we have 4 multiplied by 2. That gives us 8. And that's pretty much what you got on the right-hand side. Now for magnesium, you have 3 atoms of it. And that's the same thing you got on the right-hand side. And then for chlorine, so chlorine, you got 2 atoms of chlorine multiplied by 3. That gives us 6. And this is still the same thing you got there. So obviously, this is completely balanced. And so this is going to be the answer to the question. This is the balanced form of the equation. So that is how to solve it. Now, if you're actually interested in more videos on chemistry or math or physics, even as much as biology, I would actually recommend that you follow this channel, the A1 Science Tutor. And also, do not forget to like and comment and share this video. Thank you very much. See you in another one.